Okay, so video 4, final video. Do you like that cliffhanger at the end of video 3 there? I bet, and I wonder if anyone's watching this whole video. It's like an hour and 20 minutes already. Okay, that might have been the stupidest tip over ever. I'm on flat ground, and for some reason, the bike, I'm on flat ground, and for some reason the bike went that way instead of this way on the kickstand. I crossed this bridge, and I kind of stopped, and I was looking around, and I thought, you know what a cool drone shot is? I could put the drone up over there, and I just go past the bridge. I just ride past the bridge. And so as I was looking at this, I didn't have the kickstand down on my bike, and I had the gas can on the right-hand side. And I think what happened is I just wasn't paying attention again, and I was looking around for kind of places to shoot or whatever, and the bike started to lean over, and then it just went, because the weight is on this side, it just kept going, and I crashed. I fell over into the barrier at the side of the bridge. So the side of the bridge got that concrete barrier. Now I'm like, of course I'm pulled over, right? Because just in case a car comes, I'm not going to be in the middle of the road. So I'm pulled over. I'm looking around here to see where I can film, and then the bike starts to go over. And once again, it's one of those slow motion ones, like, I got it, shit. And then I fell over, and I got pinned between the bike and the side of the bridge there. So I'm like pinned underneath my bike. I like reach up and like turn my bike off, and then like slowly slither my way out. And I had to drag my bike away from the wall so I could kind of get in there and lift it up. And then this, helpful French guys, there's no traffic. I didn't see any traffic all day at all. And then ironically, like when I was trying to get my bike up, this guy, rode by and stopped and helped me lift my bike up there. But it's so funny that this trip, I dropped my bike twice, and both of them were just stupid. I wasn't even moving. I'm literally stopped and I dropped my bike. So annoying. And then this one kind of screwed up my bars, because my bar's all bent now. The cockpit is bent this way. The bars are bent this way. For the whole rest of the trip, everything's like off kilter now. It's super annoying. All that just for that one fucking shot. Crazy. Thanks to that couple from Montreal. No thanks to that fucker in the FJ who just rode by me. But yeah, I managed to get into Watson Lake, no problem. I actually filled up, in Watson Lake. I didn't even use the gas can, so my bike can do 372, no problem. I was kind of surprised at that. So I get into Watson Lake, and of course, everybody who goes into Watson Lake goes to see the Signpost Museum, or Signpost Forest, right? That's what everyone goes to see. So of course I went there too, but I would actually encourage you to go check out, what's it called? The Northern Lights Space and Science Center. Now, if you've never seen the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, I highly recommend you add it to your bucket list, because it's stunning. It's indescribable. It literally looks like an alien's coming down. It looks like a green curtain is just floating in the sky, and it's cool to imagine. It's way up in the atmosphere. It looks like it's right here, but it's actually really high in the atmosphere. And it's even cooler to imagine that's solar energy coming from the sun that's just passing through our atmosphere that creates that, right? So it's really cool. But if you've never seen that, the Northern Lights and Space and Science Center might be your second option, because they have a movie there that plays that talks about the Northern Lights. And the cool thing about this theater is that it's actually a dome. So the screen goes like all around you like this. And so they play this film talking about the Northern Lights and how it's formed and all that. And I thought it looked really cool. It was really neat to see. Of course, it's not the same as when you see the Northern Lights in real life, but it's better than a flat screen, right? It comes all around you like that. So I think if you've got kids or something like that, I think they would really like this film a lot. And the chairs lean really far back. I actually fell asleep for part of it. But yeah, it's really great display I thought there was at this place there. So if you're in that area, because I know everybody goes to the Signpost Forest there, go check out the Northern Lights Space and Science Center. There's not much there other than the theater. There's not much of the science center there. It's just a theater. But the film I thought was pretty good. So I stayed at the Air Force Lodge, $125 a night, run by this German guy who loves to tell you all about the lodge. One thing I found on this trip that I didn't encounter on my other trips is a lot of people want to talk to you on this trip. I was kind of surprised at that. When I'm getting gas or coming out of a gas station or a restaurant or whatever, people come up to you like, hey, where are you going? Oh, I did that trip when I was in, 71 with my old Panhead and Harley or whatever. And I'm like, okay, great. I had one gas station I stopped at, this family or group of riders from Tennessee, I think somewhere in the States, came up to me and we was chatting a little bit. And then we're gonna, get going. I'm like, okay, see you guys there. Like, oh, do you mind if we pray for you before you go? I'm like, why? What do you know? You know something I don't know? I was like, yeah, sure, if you want. If you know something, just let me know. But I know a lot of people like to talk to you. And this German guy runs this Air Force Lodge. Sure loves to talk all about his lodge. And I mean, come on, man. I just want to get into my room at this point, right? I'm not interested in where you got that, that speaker or that desk from or all this kind of stuff. Like, great, good for you, but I just want to get into my room. But yeah, this place is nice. It's small, little tiny room, open showers, shared showers. Maybe not stay there again. I think I would prefer kind of a private bathroom, and there's a lot of other options in Watson Lake to stay at. Most of the other places were full when I booked it because it's the middle of the summer, right? And I noticed a couple other lodges or hotels that were quite popular because there's like 20, 30 bikes out front. So mine was a little bit out of town, and so it wasn't less busy. But maybe if I go back there, I might stay in like one where I got my own private bathroom, whatever. But Air Force Lodge, $125 a night, not too bad. So day 15. Watson Lake to Fort Nelson, 513 kilometers, and this is on the Alaska Highway. So I rode up on the Cassiar Highway, didn't see any animals, and I rode back down on the Alaska Highway, also didn't see any animals. Okay, caution, bison, next 180 kilometers. Apparently this section here is supposed to get a lot of bison. There's a bunch of warning signs saying watch out for bison. Obviously, big ass animal, you don't want to smack that with your car or a motorcycle. So let's see if my luck changes. And oh, there's a couple baby foxes, cute. If my luck changes and I see some animals. So far, I haven't seen hardly anything. Maybe a few bears, one ass end of a moose scooting off into the forest, a bunch of foxes. That's it. No bison, elk, deer, nothing. Where's everybody? Did everybody leave and not tell me? I did meet a bunch of bikers at one point, though. I was at this sign, I was taking pictures of the sign. A bunch of bikers showed up to also take pictures, and they said, yeah, we just saw like a herd of bison cross the road, and they all just settled down on the side of the road. They're all hunkered down over there. So they're, oh, great. So I rode up there, and what did I see? There's one bison just sleeping there. That's it, one. When I rode through Yellowstone National Park, I saw one lonely bison just hanging out. There have been warning signs all up and down this highway for bison, and I sure hope they're not for this dude. Let me see. I hope there's more of his buddies hanging around somewhere. I was so surprised I didn't see. I've seen more wildlife on the ski lift at Whistler Mountain than I have on this entire trip. So don't know what happened there. Continuing south along the Alaskan Highway, I came across Muncho Lake. Why is Muncho Lake a jade green color? Striking color is created by tiny rock fragments scraped from the valley walls by glaciers and carried by meltwater downstream to the lake. Oh, no kidding. This silt flows into the icy water. Most of it sinks to the bottom. Fine particles ground to the texture of flour remain suspended in the lake, giving its milk experience. Reflects and scatters light, mainly blue-green algae part. So it's just the remnants of the rock that the glacier scraped. The problem is the GoPro is not going to show this at all. There's a little trail down here. I can walk down there. GoPro's not going to show the scale of this at all, but yeah, that is pretty stunning. And that is pretty green. If it wasn't so windy, I'd pop the drone up, but it's crazy windy today, and I don't want to lose my drone down there. Now, Muncho Lake is famous for its color. It's really this dark emerald green, and you can see it from the highway. It does look really green, and when you get closer, it even looks more green. And I mean, man, this lake is fantastic. It's just absolutely gorgeous. When I was there, it was really peaceful. I don't know if it gets busy in the summer months or whatever. I noticed there's some camping on there, but boy, that green color is really stunning. I almost wanted to go for a swim. It was so tranquil looking. Wow, it is really green, huh? Kind of nice to see a lake without like lots of motorboats on it. Wow, it is really green. Holy crap. Ooh, this is floating. Cool. Oh, it is really green. I wonder if that shows up on the GoPro. It's so green. Wow. Cool. Yee. Oh man, does that look nice? I love to jump in. I wonder if that's showing up on the camera. It is really green. Looks like that river in Boston during St. Patrick's Day. I'm gonna sit down here because this thing is like moving all over the place. Gonna put my stinky boots in here. Wow. It is really nice here. And then just past Muncho Lake to Fort Nelson, it's about 240 kilometers from Muncho Lake to Fort Nelson. And this is all part of the Alaskan Highway. And just outside of Muncho Lake, they're doing road construction. So they kind of blocked the lane for a little bit. And I was stuck there for about half an hour. And I scooted my way to the front there, and they blocked the lane for about half an hour. And then when they let us go, I know there's no traffic in front of me. Because we've been there for half an hour. I mean, there's no traffic in front of me. I'm first in line, 240 kilometers, just hammer timed it to Fort Nelson. This honestly was the best riding of the whole trip. The scenery was amazing. Like, this is what I thought the Cassiar would look like. But the Cassiar doesn't. The Cassiar just looks like BC. But this part here was stunning. You got the mountains, green forest everywhere, really nice windy like twisty roads. Not super hairpin twisty, but like sweepers. Stuff you can just hammer it, you know, you just lean in and just carve that corner. I absolutely loved it. 240 kilometers, nobody in front of me. I knew nobody was in front of me, and that was probably my favorite riding of the entire trip. Honestly, I'd go back just to ride that stretch of road again. If you want, and once again, that's Muncho Lake to Fort Nelson. That stretch of road there is fantastic. So I get into Fort Nelson, I stayed at an Airbnb, $103 a night. Great place. I really like this Airbnb actually, because I'm starting to head south into BC, and unfortunately at that time, BC was experiencing a heat wave. They call it a heat dome. And so I was looking at the weather map and I was like, oh my God, so the further south I get, I was heading into like 35-degree temperatures. I don't know what that is in freedom temperatures, but it's damn hot, especially with the gear that I had on. So this Airbnb I stayed at was, I don't know how they did it, but I was basically at the whole basement to myself, and the basement was really cool. I was quite surprised how cool it was actually, because I was expecting, because you know in Airbnbs they rarely have air conditioning. Hotel houses in BC not gonna have air conditioning, so I was expecting it to be hot, but no, it was really cool in the basement. Fantastic. And of course they have dogs. Fantastic. Best part about staying at Airbnb is the pets. Bye guys. Hey bud, come here. Come here. You don't recognize me because I have my helmet on. Haha. Okay buddies, come here. Here you go. They were all friendly yesterday. Bye. Bye little shy one. We didn't become friends, the other one. He's too shy. So day 16, Fort Nelson to Dawson Creek, 460 kilometers. And if the road from Muncho Lake to Fort Nelson was awesome, the road from Fort Nelson to Dawson Creek sucked. It was horrible. It was probably the worst road of the whole entire trip. So I went from the best road to the worst road. And the reason why the worst road was trucks. I guess this is, I don't know why, like I guess the trucks don't go past Fort Nelson and they go somewhere else or whatever, or this is like a stretch of highway that they go on, but it's packed with trucks. It was dead straight, completely boring, no interesting scenery, and just packed with trucks. So that sucked. Holy crap, it's hot. 33 degrees right now. And just no airflow, it's just hot air. Being blown, and this jacket is roasting. These pants and this jacket, I am roasting hot. Get into Dawson Creek. Dawson Creek, there's literally nothing there. The claim to fame of Dawson Creek is this sign. Everyone gets a photo in front of this sign. So I thought I would go there. I thought, what I wanted to do was take this piece of garbage drone and I wanted to fly it around me. I wanted to park in front of the sign and I wanted to get like a circle going around me. But this piece of junk can't circle you, so I ended up with like half a circle. But yeah, there's not really much else to do in Dawson Creek other than take a picture of the sign. This is apparently the start of the Alaska Highway. That's why the sign is there. I stayed at the Aurora Park Inn and Suites, $111 a night. Pretty generic hotel, nothing overly outstanding about it, nothing really terrible about it, but I will say the staff was super friendly and they allowed me to check in early, which was great because it was really starting to get hot that day and I was boiling hot. So they allowed me to check in early. Hotel had air conditioning, got into my room, cranked the AC and just relaxed there. And good thing is they have that breakfast, they have a breakfast option in the morning. I don't know about you guys, but I love hotels that have that waffle machine in the morning, and the waffle one, you pour the stuff in, you turn it. I love that thing. So the Aurora Park Inn and Suites, they've got the breakfast option with the waffle maker, so fantastic. Not the nicest hotel I've ever stayed in, but friendly staff, allowed me to check in early, cold air conditioning, and the waffle machine, that's 5-star in my book. Day 17, Dawson Creek to Quesnel, 523 kilometers. Once again, starting off early in the morning, I noticed these funky clouds. Did we just see thunder? Did we just see lightning? Did we just see lightning? Did I capture that? Probably not a good idea to stand here in the middle of an empty parking lot if it's lightning out. Oh man. Well, I don't mind if it rains. Hopefully the rain will keep it cool. It's supposed to be a ridiculous 37 degrees today. And I'm wearing my Griffin ultra hot gear. It rained most of the way there. So I went from like the coolest road ever to the shittiest road ever to the wettest road ever. It's just pouring rain all the way there. Boring, just on the highway, just dealing with the rain. I get into Quesnel. I'm staying at the Airport Inn. This was, I think this was, Quesnel actually, I remember when I'm booking this, Quesnel was quite expensive. I think Quesnel is like a stopping off point or something for people in the interior when they're going on holiday, because it's surprisingly nothing there, but it's expensive. So I think people go there and they go camping or wherever the hell they're going. But I stayed at this place, Airport Inn. The room looked like it was straight out of a 1970s adult film set. But what can you do? It's Quesnel, right? It's no big deal. $160 a night for the room. It was tolerable. And the reason why I stayed there was because day 18, I wanted to go check out Barkerville. And so I rode from Quesnel to Barkerville, which is 85 kilometers. And Barkerville is a historic mining town that's being converted into an open air museum. And I don't know about you, but every time I go see these kind of like historic mining sites, I'm always honestly a little bit bored, because all I'm looking at is some old piece of machinery that doesn't work anymore, or old crumbling building that's no one there anymore. And it's like, I'm trying to imagine what this place looked like. I'm like, no, it's an old building. Barkerville's not like that. It's the whole place is restored. But better than that, they have hired these actors to be around the town and act like the 1800s. So you walk into this building, this store, which might have been like the mail room or like a dress store or whatever. There's literally a person behind the counter there, and you can talk to them as if they're in the 1800s. And these guys are fantastic. They were so good. Guys at the saloon, guy looked like a cowboy, like just absolutely fantastic place. I honestly thought I would only spend like an hour or two there, because I'm not really into historic stuff that much, but I spent the whole day there. It was just so fun to be able to kind of interact with people. They had like this shows, sketches that they would do kind of at certain times in the middle of the day, in the middle of the town there and all that. So really great. I was really impressed with the quality of this place. And then it was kind of fun to actually see how some of these people lived a long time ago, because like I said, like most of these mining towns, you go in them and the building's gone, right? It's just like a frame or foundation there or whatever. But this place, they have like literally the dude's house is still there. So you can see like old newspapers, his bed where he used to sleep here, the wood stove over there, he's got a rifle on the wall and all that. So it's kind of fun to imagine, like, okay, this is how this guy lived in this like one room house here. So if you like history, I really recommend stopping off in Barkerville, because there's actually a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. And at one point, Barkerville was the largest city in Western Canada. It had a population of about 5,000 to 10,000 residents. And then obviously obviously mining was the big thing there, but when the kind of mines ran dry, everybody kind of left there. But still, a fantastic place. I really recommend Barkerville. And so then when I was planning that trip to Barkerville, I noticed that there's actually a gravel road that goes behind Barkerville. So this is the end of my trip, right? This is basically from Barkerville. I'm retracing my steps back down to 100 Mile House, back down to Whistler, back down to Vancouver, and then back over to Victoria. But when I was looking at the map, I noticed that behind Barkerville, there's like these Forest Service roads that I could take, and there's some small, tiny communities kind of tucked away in the back there. So I thought, maybe that'd be kind of interesting. Like instead of just, slogging it on the highway, I could take this kind of Forest Service road, stop in these small communities, and then just kind of make my way back home, kind of off-road, instead of the highway. Okay, who do I trust here? Google is telling me to go right here. That sign is telling me to go left. I have a feeling that sign is put there by people who know what they're doing. Anyone, oh my God, there's so many flies flying around, mosquitoes and stuff. Anyone who marks a sign C110815 probably knows what they're talking about, but holy shit, there's a lot of mosquitoes right now. Thing is, I don't know which one it is to likely there. Should I go right here? How far is it to go? 75 kilometers. So that's probably that. I'll try this thing here. Let's see. Sounds like a cool idea, right? Wrong, turned out to be shit. So from Quesnel, I rode to Horsefly. Horsefly, population, I don't know, like 10 people or something like that. 224 kilometers. Oh, I forgot. I'm on a Triumph. That's right. I want it in off-road mode. I have to stop, push this button, wait for it to animate to get to off-road mode, then hit OK, and then hit OK, and then I can go. That's right. You can't just go. Triumph, you can't just go. You gotta go through this rigmarole for some reason. So Google's saying this way to likely, the other way is saying the other way to likely. Let's find out which one is correct. Ironically, I expected this road to be very empty. I didn't think there'd be anybody on this road. I've seen like 4 or 5 trucks already. So I kind of have a feeling that it may not be as abandoned as I thought. If I run into someone, I'll ask them if this is the way to Likely. Hey, excuse me. Good. Can you tell me, does this road take me to Likely?
This one here, it can. What are you riding?
The Triumph. My goal is to get to Horsefly, I think it's called. That's where I'm staying for the night.
Yep.
I went to Barkerville yesterday. When I noticed that sign, it kind of split. One goes up and one goes straight. Which one do I follow there?
The main one that just continues on
okay.
straight. Yeah, don't go up a hill or
okay.
anything like that.
Okay. I'm going to head back on the main road. I kind of suspected this wasn't the main road. This is a logging road. If you've ridden in BC long enough, you kind of recognize some of these roads are like the main road and some of these are just logging roads. This is definitely a logging road. And it just usually just disappears. It turns into a dead end or, like the guy said there, like an ATV trail or something. It just, because the logging company, they don't need to build it. They just need to build it to get the trees out. So, let me head back to there. Hope I have enough gas. I get into Horsefly, and that road, the Forest Service road that I did. Okay, so this is it here. I backtracked. 3114. That's what he was talking about. Yeah, this is more of a main road. The other one's a logging road. Yeah, this is the type of road that I could see built between two small towns. So, I'm amazed that Google sends me down the other road. I'm really curious as to what it would be like, but I don't want to find out today. This is like a main dirt road between two small towns. I just think it was like a bad time or whatever, because it wasn't as scenic as I thought it would be. But also, too, there's a lot of, it was really hot. It's like 35 degrees. I was just dying in my gear. There were actually forest fires going on in that area. I saw helicopters going over, and it's literally smoke, was beside me. So there was active forest fires going on. Wow, I don't know if you can see it, but the sun is so red because the forest fires smoke. Oh, it's right here. Look at that. Oh, it's right here. Like I can see the smoke rising just literally right there. I think at another time with cooler weather or something, it might be a little bit more scenic. Holy fuck! What a fucking day. This was the stupidest fucking idea I've ever had to come to this shithole. Why the fuck did I think this was a good idea? I get into Horsefly and I'm so hot. It's 35 degrees. I'm just roasting in my gear. I just want to get something to eat and go check into my Airbnb. Is there anything to eat around this fucking place? These small towns, these communities don't have a lot of options, right? So I found one place that was open and they only had one thing available, which was a sandwich. Now I'm all for sandwiches. I love sandwiches. Give me a good sandwich, no problem. I'm happy with that. But look at the size of this sandwich. This sandwich was literally about the size of my iPhone 13 mini. Like, look at the size of that pickle. That pickle's not like this big. That pickle's like a normal size pickle. It takes up like almost half the size of the sandwich. That sandwich was like $18 and it was like I think smaller than my phone. And that's all they had on the menu. I was like, come on, man, I'm starving to death here. Like, I wanted something, substantial. But that's it. So, yeah, I ate that. And then I went to my Airbnb. It was the Willow Grove Bed and Breakfast, $136 a night. Nice old character home. The lady who runs it is like an artist. So she holds these kind of arts exhibitions or art school kind of thingies there every now and then. But yeah, like if you're kind of looking for like a off-grid, not off-grid, but like kind of a remote place where you could do art stuff, paint, write, sing, not sing, but like whatever you want to do, get inspired, that would be a good place to do it. Nice little character home though. I really like, the home was really nice. I don't want to say anything bad about the home. The home was really nice, the lady was really nice, nice and remote. I just wish there was more food options in Horsefly. And then the next day, day 20, I rode from Horsefly back to my home at Vancouver, And that turned out to be the single worst day of riding I've ever had in my life. So here's what happened. So from Horsefly, I'll show you the map here. From Horsefly to Lillooet, my plan was to go to Horsefly, 100 Mile House, down the highway, just retracing my steps, right? Down to Lillooet, take the Duffy Lake Road, back over to Whistler, down the Sea to Sky, into Vancouver, take the ferry over. That was my plan. Sounds good, right? I get to Lillooet. There's a Chevron gas station in Lillooet that I stopped at. I get to Lillooet, I stop off and get gas, I take a little bit of a break on their park benches here, and then I get going again and I ride all the way to Pemberton, which is 100 kilometers. And this is peak summer. And normally that Duffy Lake Road is fantastic for bikes. Great scenery, super twisty. It's a popular spot for bikers who live in Vancouver who want to, have a fun day out. In the middle of summer, it kind of sucks because there's just endless RVs clogging up the road. So you're just fighting these guys all the time, trying to get around them. And since the road's so twisty, there's not a lot of areas to pass, right? So you're just slogging it through, trying to get around them. So I finally make it to Pemberton. I get into Pemberton and I realize that I had left my phone back in Lillooet. I always keep my phone, this phone, I think in the left pocket or right pocket, I can't remember. And whenever I get going, I always tap these two pockets because the one pocket's got my wallet with my driver's license and all that, and the other one's got my phone. So I tap it for whatever reason I didn't do that. So when I was pulling into Pemberton, I tapped it and I'm like, hey, that doesn't feel like phone. That feels like stomach. What the hell? Now, luckily, I carry two phones. So I used the Apple Find My app to find out where the hell my phone was. And it showed that it was back in Lillooet, 100 kilometers away. So I'm like, shit. So I flip around, I ride back all the way 100 kilometers back to Lillooet, fighting those stupid RVs again. I get to the Chevron gas station and I go to the bench and my phone's not there. I'm like, oh crap. I go into the Chevron gas station and luckily someone had turned in my phone. So if you were in Lillooet last year, on July 22nd, and you found an iPhone 13 Pro on that bench and you turned it in, massive thanks to you. So I get my phone and I'm thinking to myself, I do not feel like riding 100 kilometers back to Pemberton and fighting those stupid RVs again. I was like, forget it. I just want to get home at this point. So I know I can just ride straight down the canyon there on the highway all the way to the ferry terminal. It's a bit of a boring ride, it's just straight down on the highway, but the scenery is actually not that bad. But instead of fighting all the RVs, I'll just go on the highway. Highway, you can pass cars really easy, no problem. So I start down the highway, and it's a canyon, right? And I encounter the worst headwind I've ever dealt with on the trip. It was I even stopped at one point. I checked the map to see what the hell, how strong is this wind? And the weather app was showing 80 to 100 kilometer an hour gusts of wind. I was like this. I was like, holy shit. At one point I was just literally tucked in and how do I avoid this stuff? Just getting hammered by this wind all the way down. I stopped somewhere. I can't even remember where. This kind of this little town that's not even a town, it's just open. I think this was maybe destroyed in a forest fire a few years ago because there's just nothing there. So nothing to kind of block the wind or whatever. Because I stopped there because I looked down and I noticed my left boot was really shiny. And I was like, why is my boot so shiny? So I stopped and it's covered in oil. So I'm like, where'd that come from? So I'm looking on my bike, what's going on here? Is an oil leak? Oh no. And I noticed that oil was leaking from my forks. So I'm like, oh crap, so that fork seal is leaking, and I noticed both of them were leaking, but especially the left side was leaking a lot because all that oil was on my boot. And I was like, is that oil getting on the brake? Is that oil getting on the tire? Am I gonna lose the front tire in a corner or whatever? So I wrapped a rag around it to try to prevent it from getting onto the tire and kept going. And I thought that, okay, if I get out of the canyon, the headwind will stop. Nope, didn't. If I get into the flat parts, the farmland of Abbotsford, the headwind will stop. Nope, didn't. If I get on the highway going to the ferry terminal, the headwind will stop. Nope, didn't. The whole way, 300 some odd kilometers from Lillooet to Dawson, I was getting hammered by this crazy strong headwind. I mean, I was so exhausted when I got to Dawson, because this thing was just moving me all. If I was on the donkey, I probably would have been blown off the road. And one thing I did notice between the difference between the donkey and the Tiger is that the Tiger is a lot more stable. If I'm riding behind a big truck in the donkey, that thing is moving all over the place. The Tiger, that extra weight, I think it's about extra 50 pounds or so, makes a big difference in the stability of the bike. But even so, man, was I ever tired, because I was just getting hammered around by this like 80 kilometer an hour headwind. So I finally get to the ferry terminal, I get on the ferry, I get home, I finally get home, just exhausted. Now, I've mentioned this on my previous videos, is that the thing that I do, I like to get into my hotels early, right? I mentioned this on my other video, but the reason why I like to get into my hotels early is because I want to back up all the footage for that day. So I take like 8 cameras with me. I want to make sure I back everything up, and then I back that up, right? And then I double, quadruple check all of that, and then I format all the cards so they're all empty for the next day, and then I charge all the batteries and all that. That takes a long time, because it takes a long time to transfer 8 cameras worth of footage onto one drive and then back up that drive and all. So this is why I like to get in my hotel room early, and I make sure I do that every night, because I know what's going to happen is if I skip a day, then what might happen the next day is I'm filming and either the battery dies or the card gets full or something and I lose that shot. So I'm like really diligent about backing everything up that night. So I finally get back home, get to Victoria. I'm exhausted. I go to sleep. I'm back home. A couple of days go by, and I start to kind of look at the footage and start to kind of think about, you know, editing, get my mind around editing this stuff. This is like about a week or so later. And I noticed like there's still footage on these cameras, right? There's still footage from like the last day on these cameras. And what I did was I accidentally deleted all the footage from day 20. All the footage from the last day is gone, because I thought in my mind I'd already backed it up, because that's what I do every night when I get back to my hotel room, right? Every night I back it up. So I was thinking, hey, why the footage on here? Oh, I must have forgot to delete it. Well, I've already backed it up, so I'll just delete it now and format everything. But I didn't back it up because I was so exhausted that day. I got home, I didn't do it that night, obviously. And the next couple of days I go back to work, I forgot about it. So I deleted all the footage from that day, day 20. The only footage I have is the shot of these cows that for some reason I shot because I didn't see any wildlife in the whole trip. I thought, oh, well, here's some cows, I'll just shoot some cows. So the only footage I have from day 1 is kind of a fitting footage, actually. So this completely bullshit day, I have a picture of these bulls staring at me. That's it. That's all I have from day 20. So that was the end of my Alaska trip. But I tell you, man, that day really sucked, because that was a tough day to ride 80 kilometer gusts with a leaking fork seal and just trying to get home. I'm having to ride that 200 kilometers back and forth to get my stupid phone. So yeah, that day kind of sucked. So anyways, that's my trip to Alaska. So the total kilometers was over 10,000 kilometers. The exact amount I don't know, because Triumph can't count past 9,999 kilometers. Apparently that's too difficult for the Triumph engineers, because the tripometer stops at that speed. And I even switched it to miles, which is like 6,213 miles, I think, thinking that it might keep going. It doesn't. It stops the miles there as well. So I don't exactly know how long the trip was, but it was 9,999 kilometers. I know that for a fact. The hotels roughly worked out to about $2,200 for the whole trip, and a little over $100 a day, $100 a night for the hotel. And like I said, I wasn't staying in any fancy hotels on this trip whatsoever. There wasn't actually a lot of fancy options on this trip. A lot of the hotels were kind of like what I would consider like working man hotels, and I just tried to find the ones that weren't crazy expensive. Like I saw a lot of hotels that seemed to be like around the $300 or $400 range, whereas I thought they should have been like the $100 to $200 range. I think in any other part of the world they would be like $100 to $200 range, but because they're so limited up there, they're able to bump their rates. Like the hotel in Valdez, $226 for that. That's ridiculous. That should have been like a $80 Roach Motel, you know, that kind of thing. So I tried to really kind of find hotels that were decent but not crazy outrageously expensive. I don't mind staying in a $300, $400 night hotel if it's worth it. But none of these hotels I really felt were worth it. So average hotel was over $2,200. Gas was about $1,295. Like I said, I had no problems finding gas almost anywhere. If your bike can do 300, 350 kilometers, you'll be fine. If it does under 200, you might want to bring a jerry can. But I found gas almost everywhere. There's so many RVs up there. You know, they have a lot of gas stations because I think there's so many tourists up there. Past Fairbanks, if you go to like Prudhoe Bay, I think definitely there's, you know, you got to worry about gas. But for me, just going to Anchorage and riding around that area, there's no issue with gas whatsoever. And like I said, food is about $1,000. I was spending maybe about $50 a day on food. I don't eat out a lot. I don't, you know, rarely eat out. I just usually get food at the grocery store and head back to my hotel or whatever. So my food budget is actually pretty low. So total trip was probably about like maybe $4,500 or something like that. Canadian money there. So, you know, I said that, you know, I'm not the type of person who likes to ride to a place just to say that, I've been there, right? I'm like more of the journey guy. But having said that, I was thinking about this like when I got back. I almost do kind of wish I went to Prudhoe Bay. And the reason why is because there's nothing really happened on this trip. Like nothing happened. It was like, okay, I rode there, come home, and like nothing really happened. Like compared to my other trips, I feel like more stuff happened. Like this trip, nothing really happened. So I kind of feel like, okay, well, since nothing happened, I might as well have ridden to Prudhoe Bay anyways, because then at least I could say I went there. And I actually think the challenging part of that Alaska trip is from Fairbanks to Prudhoe Bay. I think that's where it gets really remote, and that's where the challenge comes in. I think where I rode, it wasn't that challenging at all. So I actually do kind of wish now I challenged myself a bit more and rode to Prudhoe Bay. Would I do it again? I probably would actually, but I probably wouldn't do it on my bike. I think what I like to do, I actually had this crazy thought like a while back about doing it in the middle of winter. I thought everybody goes there in the middle of summer. Like, I wonder if you could do it in the middle of winter. And I thought, no, that'd be crazy. You can't ride a motorcycle in the middle of winter. Wrong. Check out these two guys. These two lunatics rode their motorcycles in the middle of winter with wind chills of down to minus 70. That's pretty cold. So it's doable. But after watching that video, I realized, yeah, okay, good. I don't want to do that. That looks pretty cold. But I think what I like to do is do that trip again, but just get like an old KLR or something and do it on an old KLR. And that way, if the bike is totally beaten up and totally trashed with the road condition on it, I wouldn't care. I mean, because I don't want to be like that guy who lost his bike. I mean, $20,000, Tiger to just write off that's a lot of money, right? So I don't want to do that. But I would like to do that trip again on an older bike and just ride up there and, you know, have a little bit more challenge on this particular trip. So I realize this video series has got really long. I don't know if anyone's still watching it or not. If you are, man, congratulations to you. I probably won't even watch this whole thing besides editing it. But yeah, I think like for me, I wouldn't mind doing this trip again. I would just do it on a different bike. If you're thinking about if you're on the fence whether you should do this trip or not, maybe this video can give you some insights into it, because I think a lot of the other videos, they make this Prudhoe Bay almost like a rite of passage, right? You buy your GS, you get your Touratech gear, and then you go to Prudhoe Bay. And it seems to be like that's the thing to do. But you don't have to do that. I mean, maybe Prudhoe Bay is not for you. Maybe Alaska's not for you. For me, it wasn't as life-changing or, you know, scenic as I thought it would be. Like most of the stuff I've seen, because I live in this area. If you don't live in this area, then going up there, yeah, probably could be really amazing for you, and you probably will see scenery that you don't see if you're coming from a different part of the world or whatever. But for me, it was kind of more of the same. But overall, I really did enjoy the trip. It was a different experience than my previous trips. Actually, one of the main things I really liked about this trip was I met a lot of other bikers. So my previous trips, I didn't really meet a lot of bikers, but this route is so common. Like there's just GSs and KTMs and some Tigers, like just constantly on the highway. You can always tell it's a GS, just count the number of fog lights they have on their bike. If it's got like more than 4, guaranteed it's gonna be a GS rider. The KTMs are the ones that looks like a weird insect, you know, but the GS ones are always like lit up like a Christmas tree. But I did enjoy meeting the other bikers on the road and kind of, you know, swapping stories and all that. So that part was fun. So yeah, if you're thinking about doing this trip and you have any questions for me, feel free to post in the comments. You can email me. I'm happy to answer it. But I hope you found this video series helpful, and wish you all the best on your trip to Alaska.